One of the businesses I absolutely love long term is Zillow. The company has a $15 billion market cap today. I think this could be a $1 trillion opportunity because they are aggregating demand in the housing market. So they have the housing app that you're probably familiar with. They also have rentals there. So they're getting advertising revenue from brokers. They're moving into the mortgage business. We could see in the future, you could do everything on Zillow. You could look for homes. You could actually schedule a tour of a home that you may be interested in buying. You can make an offer, make monthly payments, set up movers, all kinds of things you can do on Zillow because this is a platform company. The market doesn't really seem to realize that yet, and that's, I think, the long-term opportunity. But a partnership that they announced today, I think is really interesting and potentially shows the value that Zillow is bringing to the market and how supply, that's the brokers in particular right now, are really seeing this value of Zillow and seeing why they need to work with Zillow. This is important because as a platform or as an aggregator, what Zillow needs is demand that forces supply to come to the table. The biggest example of this would be Netflix. You may remember Netflix's early deal with Showtime. That was what really put their streaming service on the map. But the bigger deal was with Disney. That was a few years later, and Disney was an established player. They could have gotten into the streaming business early if they really wanted to, but they saw easy money from Netflix. Hey, you'll give me a check for content that we're already monetizing in other ways. That's basically free money for us. And that was the short-term win for Disney. But the long-term win was with Netflix because Netflix attracted more subscribers to their service. And you look at it today, who is the power player in media today? It's Netflix. They have the biggest valuation. They have the most subscribers. They are where Disney wants to be. I think Zillow is doing the same thing today. They partnered with Home Services of America, which is the brokerage business that's part of Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway. This is one of the biggest real estate brokerage companies in the US. And I think this could ultimately bring short-term value to Berkshire Hathaway, but it will bring a tremendous amount of long-term value and viability to Zillow's platform strategy. So let's dig through all this today. My name is Travis Hoyam. Thanks for watching Asymmetric Investing. Please subscribe here on YouTube for all my content. And thanks to this video sponsor, The Motley Fool. If you go to fool.com/ASYM, they'll give you their top 10 stocks to buy right now. Let's start by actually looking at Zillow's stock today. And I think it's interesting that Zillow is down almost 4%. Now, the market was up early in trading because apparently there was thoughts that there were going to be tariff negotiations, and then that was kind of taken off the table when tariffs were actually implemented at a higher rate against China in particular. So there's a lot of macro moves going on. This isn't all about Zillow, but there's really no pop related to this announcement. But the announcement is a pretty big deal. So this is the press release from Zillow today. Product partnership with Home Services of America empowers agents with Zillow Showcase. Now, what they're saying is the AI-powered Showcase is going to deliver premium listing visibility to Home Services of America brokers on Zillow. Now, Showcase is basically Zillow's tools to help agents win more business and do more deals, give more profile views is what they're saying here, 80% more saves, views, and shares. And this is growing the Zillow platform and the value that they can add to agents themselves. So they've got a bunch of comments here. There are also a bunch of comments from agents within this press release. So what they're doing is allowing Zillow to help empower agents within Home Services of America companies or brokers to use Zillow Showcase on their listings, and that AI-powered Showcase is exclusive to Zillow. The real news here is that supply is coming to Zillow and using some of the tools that they're building for their platform to differentiate Zillow's platform from other platforms like Homes.com, which is owned by CoStar. This is Home Services of America. If you're not familiar with this company, this is owned by Berkshire Hathaway, and it's got a bunch of components to it. But the biggest thing that is important today is the brokerage business. 227,700 transactions, $139 billion in sales volume, 820 offices. This is a company that's headquartered in the Minneapolis area. That's where I'm from. So the broker that I know here is this one right here, Edina Realty. That's important because Edina Realty is really a big player in this area specifically, and they have their own app. They have their own experience that they can build out. They could say, you know what, we're not going to work with Zillow. We don't need that demand coming from Zillow. We're going to kind of go it on our own. That's what the MLS has really done in the real estate business when most businesses have kind of aggregated demand to one or two apps nationwide or even globally. But that hasn't happened. So depending on where you live, you may see or be familiar with one of these brokerages. So some of them are branded Berkshire Hathaway. Some of them are completely different names and companies that they've acquired along the way. But the big news is that this supply is going to be moving to Zillow. The supply being on Zillow is important because Zillow wants to build what it calls the housing super app. So this is on the buyer side. So this isn't the renter side, but the same thing happens on the rental side. You have the mover, the person that's actually buying the home, and then the agent. They want to have tools for every single piece of this process from discovery. So that may be just looking for homes and maybe seeing how much you can afford with a mortgage. From the agent side, it's understanding who is looking for homes and how you can help them, to tours, helps you find an agent and understand their performance, all the way through to getting approved and then actually getting your title search and closing all completed. All of that, they want to happen on the Zillow app. That's not the way that we think about Zillow today, but this is the infrastructure. This is the platform that's being built out. This doesn't work if you don't have supply on the platform. That's why one of the biggest real estate agency firms in the country being on your platform is a really big deal for Zillow. Thanks to our friends at The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/ASYM for the top 10 stocks to buy right now. And again, this is a flywheel that is going to gain momentum as more supply comes to the market. More demand comes to the market, that attracts more supply. Once there's more supply, that's going to attract more demand. You're going to be able to build out that platform even more. If they're able to build out this full platform and you can do everything to buy a home, getting a mortgage, finding an agent if you want one, getting movers, making an offer, closing the deal, all of this could happen on the Zillow app. And if that happens, there's really no going back. You don't have a company in the digital world, you don't have a company dominating a business like this and then suddenly losing that dominant position. Netflix is going nowhere in streaming. They are going to be the leader for the foreseeable future. Same thing goes for Google in search. They're not going to give up that lead. So this is why concepts like the smiling curve are so important in asymmetric investing, because in these winner-take-all markets, where the key indicator of success is demand, is eyeballs going to your app, Zillow is winning in the housing market, and this deal just solidifies that. It shows that supply is saying, you know what, we can't fight you on your own. We need to join you to be able to extract as much value as we can short term, even though we may realize that the ultimate win comes for you long term, just like it did with Netflix over Disney over the last decade. That's why this is such a big deal for Zillow. I think we're going to see more deals like this. We're going to see more supply, more differentiated supply. Remember, these showcase listings are only on Zillow. This is not something that's going to be on other platforms. And they're really phenomenal the way that they're built out. You can click on different images through the floor plan here and see exactly what the floor plan looks like, see what different views look like. You know exactly where you're looking. If you have looked at a home online and gone, you know what, I kind of can't figure out what the floor plan looks like, this answers a lot of those questions. It's not quite augmented reality. It's not quite virtual reality, but I think it's the next best thing, and it may be even more effective for most buyers today. So I think this is going to be the real differentiator. This is the kind of thing that Home Services of America agents are going to now be using, and it's going to be on the Zillow platform, exclusive to the Zillow platform, and that only increases their differentiation in the market. I think this is going to be a powerful tool. Add this to the fact that Zillow is the #1 place to go to look for rentals as well. And this could be the huge winner in the housing market. They continue to gain market share. Love this move from Zillow, and I love their position long term. But let me know what you think about Zillow stock. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe to Asymmetric Investing. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you here next time.